Earlier this year, I made my first ever $10,000 in one single week in a competitive and saturated niche with no case studies and no testimonials. And my aim with this video is to help you do the same. Okay, now I want to admit something. This isn't going to be a very hyper edited, fun, flabby dabby video. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to try and sell you anything. I don't want your email. I don't want your money. I don't want anything except for your attention. That's all I'm asking for today. That's the only thing I want. I want you to get yourself a notepad out and a piece and a pen so you can write stuff down, because I can guarantee you, I promise you, that the stuff I'm sharing with you today, you've A, never heard before, and B, I know it, for a matter of fact, it will change your life because it changed my life forever. Okay, and so my aim is to help you do the same. So let's talk about it. Let's dive in. This is going to be this will be slow and boring, and so many of you will be wanting to click off, and that's fine. But you're a fucking loser. You're gonna make no money. But if you're someone who can actually sit through and listen to a presentation like this, or whatever the fuck you want to call this, I can promise you, you'll make money. I've even taken a bunch of notes and stuff I'm gonna share with you as well today, and I'll make it worth your time. So the first thing I want to talk about is, obviously, in this scenario I just talked about, I had no case studies, no testimonials, no nothing. And so how was I able to make $10,000 in one single week with none of this stuff in a competitive, very, very saturated niche? Well, there's a couple things, which is the first thing I want to talk about, which is this idea of using your advantages, right? You have to play the hand you're dealt, right? If you've ever gone to a casino, you have to play the hand that you've been dealt. You can't just say, hey, swap, give me a new hand. Like, no, you have to play the hand you're dealt. And so if you're dealt a quote-unquote shitty hand, you still have to make it work. And so here's the thing. There's a lot of times people sit there and complain like, oh, I'm young, I'm this, I'm that. And they have all these self-limiting negative beliefs that don't serve them. And here's the deal. Whether or not those things are true, you still have to try and build a business with what you got. And so you might as well use what you got to your advantage. And what I mean by this and how you can apply this is this. A lot of you are like, oh, I'm young, I don't have case studies, I don't have this, I don't have that. And that's awesome. Because here's the deal. A lot of you look at that in a negative light. There's a negative connotation associated with the words, oh, no case studies, no testimonials, inexperienced, beginner, etc. But those are really beautiful. Those are things you can use to your advantage. And I'll share with you practically now, which is why I said take a note, I'm going to give you a golden nugget right now, which is this. A lot of people, when they talk to, people try and pretend they're somebody not. They try and act like, oh, I'm this big company, we've got thousands of clients, my name is Stefan, but I'm from Next Level Marketing Media, and try and pretend like they're this fancy big CEO boss, and when someone looks at you, you look like a little idiot, right? They can see right through all the stuff you're putting up. And so here's what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to rig the deck in your favor and use what you have to your advantage. So instead of trying to pretend you're somebody you're not, embrace and lean in to the idea of who you are. I've seen this done at mass scale in huge different marketing tactics, right? Some of the biggest companies in the world still use this, but it's called damaging emissions. I've even seen it done at local pizzerias, and I'll share with you an example how the local pizzeria did it, and I'll show you how you can do it. The local pizzeria did it like this. If you're looking for a high-end, fancy, perfect pizza place that looks like the movies, this won't be for you. But if you're looking for a pizza made by mom and pop that hits the spot every single time with a family vibe around it, you're in the right place. And what this does is, despite the fact that they're admitting their flaws, they're then backing it up with all the good things about them. Yes, we're not the biggest. Yes, we're not the best. Yes, we're not perfect. Yes, we're not like a movie. But this is who we are. And people go, you know what? I don't really want a big movie pizza shop. I want a mom and pop shop. I want a family kind of vibe. That's what I kind of want. You know what? Let me go there. And people get drawn to this, even though they're worse, because they like the values and the principles that they stand for. And so how you can apply this to your business, and how I applied it, is I just straight up said to people, hey man, here's the deal. I don't have 1,000 clients. So get this. If you want to go work with a company that has thousands of case studies, who's done this thousands of times, who don't really care about you because you're just another fish in the pond, you're just another number, okay? By all means, go ahead and work with them. I don't blame you, okay? But if you want to work with somebody who the results mean more to me than they do to you, because my future business success relies on this, and you want to give a shot at a young kid that will prove you right, then I'm your guy. And again, you can spin this in whatever way you want, right? You can be like, hey, if you want to go work with a big company that will just assign you account rep and, do the same thing over and over and over, by all means. But if you want to work with somebody to build a real, true, genuine connection and a true bond and build something big together to make an impact on the world, then you're looking at the right guy. And the thing is, I see this all the time. I've even seen this in car rental space, where there was this one where the car rental company talked about how, let me pull it up for you. Here it is. When you're only number two, you try harder or else. Little fish have to keep moving all the time. The big ones never stop picking on them. Avis, which is the car rental company, knows all about the problems of little fish. We're only number two in rent-a-cars. We'd be swallowed up if we didn't try harder. There's no rest for us. We're always emptying ashtrays, making sure gas tanks are full before we rent out our cars. Seeing that the batteries are full of life, checking our windshield wipers, and the cars we rent out can't be anything less than a lively new super torque Ford. And since we're not the big fish, you won't feel like a sardine when you come to our counter. We're not jammed with customers. So once again, it's this idea of embracing who they're not to really embrace who they are. They're admitting we're not the best. And that's fine, because look what happens when you don't go to the best. You get treated like somebody real. And I've seen this thousands and thousands and thousands of times before. As a matter of fact, this one I'm sharing with you was done by a really good company in the US, right? Where someone was like, oh, why is your thing so expensive? The guy went, yeah, our thing's expensive, but that's because that's made in America with only the highest quality materials, not some shitty stuff shipped over from China to cost you pennies. So listen, if you want some shitty stuff that's going to break over the next 5 weeks anyway from China, by all means go with them. But if you want real, high quality materials sourced from your own country, then we're your guys. Right? And it's this idea of you embrace who you're not to fully embrace who you are. And when you do this, people will love you even more because they love your authenticity, because this is what being authentic is truly about, right? And this is why having no case studies and stuff can work in your favor, or being new. I'll tell you another one. If you're here, this is for personal trainers. If you're here looking to lose 100 pounds overnight, I'm sorry, I can't provide that. But if you're willing to put in the work and follow my instructions, I can promise that we will help you lose 20 pounds over the next 3 weeks, right? And it's this idea, once again, of like, hey, I can't help you do this crazy thing. That's not me. But I can do this, 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 and this, and this. And so how we apply this to, our business, you can do whatever you want. But especially in the beginning, it's like, hey, man, listen, here's the deal. I don't have a bunch of customers. I don't have a bunch of case studies. I don't have this stuff. So if you want a guy, go with a guy who's done this 1,000 times before, but who doesn't really care about you, by all means necessary. But if you want to work with somebody who will dedicate their entire life to this, because my future business success relies on the results I get you, because I know if I get you good results, it'll help me push my business forward more, then I'm your guy, right? And so once again, this is sauce, this is golden nuggets, right? You can apply that no one ever talks about, which is using your advantages that you have. When you're small, you have the advantage of being small. You can spend more time with your customers. You can build a connection. You can build a relationship. You can do more of the unscalable things when you're smaller. When you're bigger, you can't do that, but the advantages are that you're bigger, you have results, you've done it before, etc., right? So you just got to play the hand you're dealt and use the advantages you do have, right? Like, let's say you're a very, very introverted person. Most people are like, I suck at sales. I can't do business because I'm introverted. I would argue that's great. Be like, hey, listen, here's the deal. I'm not good at this whole sales thing. I don't really have a sales script or a sales process, and I'm not going to sit here and ask you a bunch of stupid questions that make me sound like I know what I'm doing when I really don't. But that's because I focus all my time on getting my clients' results. So yeah, I'm sorry I don't know how to sell you properly to get you in this, but that's because all my time is focused on actually getting the clients that do work with me great results. So once again, it's using what you have to your own advantage. Right, whatever that may be, whatever you feel is a disadvantage, I can promise you in some way, shape, or form is an advantage. It's just how it works, right? It's just how it works. We've covered two things now, which is using your advantages, playing the hand you're dealt, and damaging emissions. Now, there's two other things I want to talk about, which is being human. At the end of the day, I don't give a shit if you're B2B, B2C, fuck all that. At the end of the day, the only thing that really matters is H to H, human to human. You see, fundamentally, every single interaction ever in business, right, when you sell something to somebody, is just one human doing an interaction, doing a transaction with another human. That's it. And the sooner you can realize that and get it through your head, the sooner you can really change your perspective on your business and sales and marketing, etc. Because you got to understand that everybody nowadays is trying to pretend to be someone they're not and try and act better than they are. Like, I get messages all the time like, hey, Stefan, we just helped so-and-so go from 0 to X in Y days. So, if you want me to do the same for you, let me know. Or, hey, Stefan, I can edit your video. It's all this bullshit, right, that no one gives a fuck about. And I've noticed that the messages I reply to are the messages where someone is truly acting like a human. Someone that just acts normal almost, right? And so there's a really good book called Never Lose a Customer by Joey Coleman. It's actually right here. It's that black one right there. It's a really phenomenal book, and he talks about this a lot. But it's this idea that fundamentally we're all humans, and we all, at some basic level, crave the same things and operate the same way, right? And if you can stop acting so robotic and stop trying to script everything and make everything so perfect, and just embrace the fact that you're human, you're not perfect, they're human, they're not perfect, and cut the fluff, cut the crap, kind of like I did at the beginning of this video, right? And just be you. You'll see so much more success. I review cold calls all the time inside my private inner circle of a bunch of guys in there. And one of the common things I see all the time is that all these guys are trying to pretend to be someone they're not. They're trying to ask questions that don't really make sense. They don't know how to ask, and they're trying to have conversations that aren't very natural. And what happens is they end up in this very weird situation where they're almost like uncomfortable because they don't even know why they're asking the questions they're asking. Their prospect is uncomfortable because they're getting asked these random questions and don't really know what they're about. And this whole call turns to shit. And so whenever I review these calls, the number one thing I say is, why are we talking like this? Why are we asking these weird questions? Why are we trying to follow the script so perfectly? And the thing is, no one can really answer the question because they're like, I don't know, I just figured that was best to do. But like, that's not true. Especially in sales, like, a lot of people don't understand that sales is just communication to help somebody make a decision. That's all it is, right? And so if you're going to ask questions that confuse yourself and the prospect, you're not going to make a sale. And if you're not even going to communicate in the first place, you're not going to make a sale, because sales is communication. Sales isn't you just showing a presentation. Sales is communication. It's figuring out, what do they want? What are their desires? What are their preferences? What are their goals? What are their struggles? Right? And it's you guys chatting back and forth to collaborate with each other, which is something nobody does. And it's taken so out of context, this idea of sales nowadays, right? Let me take my hoodie off. It's getting hot in here. So take off all your clothes. Look at me go. I'm a singer now. Turn from a YouTuber to a singer overnight. Okay, during video. Anyways, the thing I just want to get through your mind in some way, shape, or form is that you have to start being more human. Look at your scripts, look at your messages, look at your indoctrination sequences, look at your VSL, look at whatever it is you're doing, and ask yourself, when people watch this, do they feel like they're connecting with me? Do they feel like I'm a human? Or do they feel like I'm just another one of those guys doing this, trying to sell them some stupid shit? Like, ask yourself, truly ask yourself that question. And I'd argue if most of you truly reflect and look back, you guys, wow, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am just another one of those guys. Right? But the cool thing about that is we can change that then. Right? That's the cool thing. But you just got to be human. And it's so hard to say this without getting to talk to you personally and figure out exactly what you're struggling with in your current situation. I have free calls every single Monday inside my Discord. I don't, like, join if you want. I don't give a fuck if you do, right? But I have free calls and I love to chat with you. But it's so hard to say when I don't know your situation, but you just have to be more human. In every aspect of life, stop trying to pretend to be someone you're not. Stop trying to act a certain way. Like, be a human being, because everyone else you talk to is a human being. And I've tried to make this point so many times. I've probably said the same words 1,000 times. So if you're still here, wow. But it's because it's just so important. Okay? Which will bring me to my last thing, which is, you have to understand people's true desires. Like, what do they want? Because if you're going to sell anybody anything, you have to figure out, what do they want? Why are you here? Why are you on this call? Oh, I want to see what you could do. Well, listen, there's a ton of people who do very similar things to me, so why don't you just go hop on calls with everyone? Well, I take it that's a waste of your time. And so why specifically are you here? Why are you here? Why do you, okay, I want to get more deals. Well, why do you want more deals? Do you have enough money to pay rent now? Yes? Okay, cool. Then why do you need more? You can live. I want to go on vacation. Well, why? A lot of people don't want to go on vacation. Is it because you want to escape what you do? Is it because you want to travel? Is it because from a young age you've always wanted to go? Why do you want to do the things you want to do? And if you can figure out people's true desires, you can sell them anything. But you have to figure out what they want, and that's done by talking to them. Okay? And I want to circle all the way back to the very beginning, which is this idea of how I made $10K in a week, no case studies, no testimonials in a saturated market. And it was just because I positioned myself uniquely. I try to put myself in a bucket of 1 of 0. I try to put myself in a place where people saw me different than everyone else. That was just my main objective, right? Back in the day, it wasn't as popular, but I invented this thing called value first, right? Of giving people value first. And so anyone I would ever talk to, I even used to cold call local realtors, and to get them to say yes to me, I'd say, hey, I'm at your property right now. How long has this been on the market? 6 months. Cool. Here's the deal. Can I film you a free video that you can use to sell this home quicker? I guarantee it'll help you sell the home quicker, and it'll make your clients happy because it'll show them you're actively taking responsibility to sell their house. Completely for free. The only thing I need from you is to meet me at the time at the house to let me in to film. That's it. Everything else I'll do. And I used to do that. And granted, it cost me time and money to do that, but it didn't matter because I started to build a relationship with these people. Right? And they didn't care about my testimonials because I was doing them a favor. I was doing them something that they knew costed me time and money that would benefit them more than it would for me. And then afterwards, once they saw what I delivered, they're like, wow, this is actually good. They would then hire me to film all their other properties. And so I made one small little investment of time that paid off to get me tons of clients and tons of videos later down the line, right? And that's just one example of how I used the fact that I was small to my advantage. I used the fact that I was small enough to go and locally call all these people individually, walk to their listings in person, right? And film free videos for them. If I was a big company, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? And so I don't have that advantage. Once again, you got to play the hand you're dealt and use the advantages you do have, right? If you have a bunch of time, start just sending everyone free stuff that genuinely can help them. Right? Like one of the best messages I ever received from a guy pitching me was, hey, Stefan, don't know if you need this or not, but I've watched a ton of YouTube content and it's given me a ton of value. I figured the least I could do in return is make you this document with a few emails you can send to your list. I was like, dude, what the fuck? They were really good emails that really you could tell you understood who I was as a person. And I was like, damn, like thank you. Like that was actually something that I really, and I'm sitting here talking about it, right? And I remember this guy, absolute legend, right? And we stayed in touch. And that's how you build your network. That's how you get clients. That's how you stand out, right? In a world where everybody's trying to do the same thing as you, you can't just sit there and bank off the fact that you're going to position in a better way. You have to completely change the light at which people see you in. You have to put yourself in a bucket of 1 of 0, right? You have to make yourself unique in some regard, right? I say right a lot, don't I? But that's done by taking a different approach than everyone else. So a good piece of advice for anyone listening to this is whatever other people are doing, just do the exact opposite. Whatever other people do, just do the exact opposite. And more often than not, you'll actually find yourself on the better end of the stick. Okay? And so go out there and actually try. Be unique. Give value first, right? Make a difference. Right? Use the hand you're dealt. Admit your flaws. Right? Share why people should share your story. Get people bought into you. Right? Get people bought into the idea of you as a person. Right? If you can just get them bought into the idea of you, everything else will take care of itself. Because here's the thing, especially if you run a marketing agency, everyone does Facebook ads nowadays. Everybody. Right? And you can try and make it sound as sexy as you want. It's not going to work. Right? Make it sound whatever the fuck no one's going to buy anymore. Right? And so if you want to stand out, the thing that will make you stand out is not the fact that you run Facebook ads. It's not even the fact that you're the best, because typically nowadays everyone claims they're the best and everyone has the best case studies apparently, right? So what will separate you is who you are and your values and your principles and the way you position yourself. And that's how you get more people to take you up on your offer, more people to have conversations with you, is by standing out from the crowd to make them go, you know what, that guy was interesting. You know, that guy was kind of cool. You know, I remember that guy because he was different. Right? In a world where everybody's doing the same thing, messaging all your same prospects the same message, you have to do something that genuinely makes you stand out. Okay? So listen, I hope this has been valuable. I promised it would, and I truly think it was, if you've made it all the way here. And so I hope that you got something from this you can apply to hopefully make yourself more money, even if you're in a competitive niche, even if you're in a saturated niche, even if you have no case studies, no testimonials, whatever the case is. Right? Use what you do have. Oh, I'm a beginner. Perfect. That's awesome. Oh, I don't know, whatever the fuck. Use what you have to your own advantage, okay? That being said, I'm going to go back to work and then to the gym. That's what my life looks like, is you work the whole day, then you go to the gym and then come back, eat, and work again. It's life we live, okay? Appreciate you watching this video. And if you have any questions, like I said, free calls every single Monday. Check them out in my Discord below. Catch you in the next one. Peace.